Asher and Penland on W4CY Radio.
This is the Pipe Man here on the Adventures Pipe Man W4CY Radio, and I'm here with our next guest who has some killer new music. I love it. I was listening to a new single, Silver Tongues, and everybody needs to check it out. And so let's welcome to the show, and I hope I don't fuck this up, but Levinia.
Levinia, you got it. You got
it. All right.
One.
As like one of my biggest fears always is mispronouncing a band's name. Like, if I kind of think I know it, then I'm okay. If I look at them like, I better, then I'll like Google search them doing another interview for them to say it. Not a press person.
Right.
I want to hear the band say it because
gotta do the research.
Yeah, sometimes those press people, they'll say it wrong, but the band won't correct them. And like, if you do the wrong research, you're gonna say it wrong too.
Yeah, that is a phenomenal strategy.
Right? And okay, so I do festivals all over the US, UK, and Europe, and my trick there is I have the band say it. Like, so because you're doing one after another, so sometimes you don't really have time. So I'll be like, I'll announce me and I'll say and I'm with, and I'll give them the mic, and then I know I won't screw up the band name, because to me, as a press person, that would be the most embarrassing thing to do.
Like, sure.
The only thing that would be worse is if you were not a metalhead and didn't know metal music and you're interviewing metal bands.
Yeah, I'm sure there's
unique, I guess.
I've seen it a lot of times too, and it's like you can see the look in the band's eyes, like, "Oh, come on, really?" Like, and that's me. I won't take an interview unless I like the music. Like, how can you promote somebody's music if you don't like it or don't know it? You know.
Well, good to hear we made the cut then, because
see, you definitely made the cut. So let's start off with, for the listeners that don't know much about you, how would you guys as artists describe your band? I don't mean in some, genre specific bullshit, because it's so ridiculous nowadays. I kind of like to hear what the artists, how they, would paint the picture of what their music is.
For sure. Well, I guess I'd say it's kind of, at least the more recent stuff, it's like epic, somewhat symphonic metal. Our singer does like the operatic, high singing, but we're trying to make it a little bit more accessible to the mainstream. So we got the heavy riffs are kind of first and foremost, and then like the operatic stuff kind of sprinkled in on top. So think like more mainstream-ish, like Disturbed perhaps sounding, with a more epic.
Except it's more disturbing.
It's more disturbing than disturbing.
Which in metal, that would always be a compliment.
Yeah, we'll take it. I'll take that. Yeah.
Right. So I love the fact that first of all, you said opera, and you are kind of a symphonic metal band. And what I love about that is people don't realize that metal is actually a derivative of classical and sometimes opera bass. I mean, look at Halford. Halford was an opera singer, know?
Yeah. And the Paganini stuff that like, that guy was like shredding on the violin way back in the day, and then we get the Devil and Ralph Macchio in their Crossroads competition, where Steve Vai is the devil and he's playing, they're playing a lot of that same stuff. And it's Paganini riffs.
Right. Exactly. And it's like, it's interesting that people, they think it's like this loud sound, trashy stuff, but metal musicians to me are some of the best musicians there is, because not only are you playing technically difficult music, but you're doing it heavy and fast.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, I think that's what drove me in metal initially, is because like I was playing guitar. I wasn't necessarily a metalhead. I just really liked playing the guitar. And when I heard like shred for the first time, I was like, oh my God, I didn't know you could do this on the instrument. Where do I find more of this? And of course, metal was where you find it. That's like the only place where you can find it. So that's, here we are now.
And
totally.
I think it wasn't until we were both on one of these other like similar sorts of interviews, and Alon both had like the same answer about like what album really like drove you into getting into this like style of music, and it was my favorite Joe Satriani album, Strange Beautiful Music. I'd never hear that mentioned by like anybody, but like that was such a watershed album for me because it showed you how you could speak and communicate this language of guitar without using any words. And nothing sounded like it. And it's a no skip album front to back, a lot of different vibes from like the Oriental melody to the James Bondy sounding song in the middle, and then a couple of heavy 7-string stuff. Like it spans so many different feelings, but amazing what that guy did with the guitar.
Nice. And I also say that, well, usually my question is more about what was the first gig you went to that you went, oh my God, this is what I want to do.
My first metal gig or just like gig?
Any gig, like my first one wasn't a metal gig.
Yeah. The first show I ever saw, I don't think this is the one that made me think I'm going to do this, but the first show I ever saw when I was 11 years old was the Spice Girls.
Wow. That is so metal. And I have a funny story to tell you about that, but that is so cool. I like that.
11 years old with my mom seeing the Spice Girls. But in terms of what I think made me want to go that route, I think it might have been Joe Satriani. When did I see him? I was like 17, I think. That's when I discovered that same album, Strange Beautiful Music. And I was like, this is my thing. This is what I'm going to play guitar for. Oh, also the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Perhaps I saw them first.
Nice.
A big one for me, yeah.
So now, did you see them old school or once they already were commercial?
Yeah, this would have been right around Californication, by the way. It's like 2000-ish, early 2000s. So they were still at their peak at that time.
Nice.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like, okay, so my first gig ever, I don't even call it my first concert because it was Beatlemania at Madison Square Garden. So it wasn't really the Beatles,
right?
But it was, it was really cool. And then my next concert after that was Journey with Loverboy.
Oh, nice.
That sounds phenomenal.
Right?
Yeah.
And that...
Still?
What?
Steve Perry was still singing?
Yeah. That was 1979.
Okay, hell yeah.
Okay, and then, so I'm originally from Jersey. My dad moved me to California in 1980. If you can imagine the best time to be a teenager, move into the Sunset Strip area.
Oh my God, yeah, that was the day for it, for sure.
Oh my God.
Last night.
So the first club gig I ever went to, which really I was into music, I was into metal before that, but this just brought me into the scene, was at the Roxy, Motley Crue, before they had an album. They weren't glam yet. They were horror punk, and they were trying to light the Roxy on fire to bring Satan in. And I was sold. I was like, I'm never going to a real concert again, man. And I started going to clubs on the Strip, the Troubadour, the Country Club in Reseda, all the places, the infamous 80s LA places, like every Friday and Saturday night from that day on. And it is funny too, because I think about now when I'm in LA and I go to the Rainbow, I'm looking at somebody at the door IDing everybody. I'm like, how did I get in there when I was 13 years old? Oh, yeah. I was walking in with Motley Crue, and stuff like that. So I think for metal, too, it's about the music, but it's also about the scene and the people. It's like I've gone to many different types of music concerts. There's only one type of concert or festival I'll go to where you hardly ever see a fight. Everybody's a big family, and that's a metal show. That everybody thinks is violent.
Yeah, when my dad took me to my first show, it was a Children of Bodom opening for I think Fear Factory or somebody like that at the House of Blues Anaheim when it was still in Disneyland.
Right.
he was chatting with the security guards there, and they said like, "Oh no, these metal people are like the most best behaved crowd we have. It's the country guys that start all the fights and get kicked out."
I'll tell you what's funny about that. Okay, so this was like several years ago. Like I go on tour and I do coverage of music festivals all over the US, UK, and Europe. And there was one time there were two on the same weekend that I got credentials for, and I knew I couldn't show up to both. So there was this girl that worked for me. She was a country girl, never been to a rock show ever. I'm like, hey, you got to go cover this festival. It's near the studio. You don't have to go too far, because I got to go into this other one. And she was really kind of scared about it because, metalheads scare people.
Yeah.
And I laugh with a lot of my artist friends were like, yeah, let's keep them thinking that, it'll keep the assholes out. It keeps the assholes out. Okay. And so I said to her, I'm like, listen, you don't understand. Okay. You go to these country shows where a bunch of rednecks are getting drunk on Jack Daniels and getting into fights. That doesn't go on at a metal festival. In fact, what's going to happen is you're probably going to make a bunch of new friends. You're probably going to meet some dude, and you're going to have the best time of your life. So,
absolutely,
you might get hurt from like hugging somebody too hard.
I know, right? Exactly. You go to a metal show and you got these big, scary looking dudes wearing shirts that say free hugs, or signs that say free hugs. And so she comes back and she's like, oh my God, you're so right. I made all these new friends. Everybody was so cool. I teabagged some guy and he's now my boyfriend. And, and I found my new favorite band. I don't know if you know them. They're called Bring Me the Horizon. I'm like, yeah, I think I kind of know who they are.
Only this tremendous act.
Right? Exactly. And it's like, it just proves the point, and it's funny. Every time I do talk to like country people and they talk about the metal shows that they've never been to, I'm like, please, you guys are ridiculous. You guys get into fights instead of having fun,
Totally. I was at a show on the East Coast once, and metal venue, and metal band was playing, and there's a huge mosh pit, just like going nuts, right? And then somebody in the middle of the pit is just like, I dropped my contact lens, and like 5 giant dudes are like, we got you, and just like form a circle around this dude so that nobody can get to them. Like they're all strangers, of course, and this guy's like looking around at his phone for like 2 minutes, and then like finds his contact lens, and everyone high fives, like, great job, everyone, back to the pit. And then, everyone's
the exact same experience at just like the last like Arch Enemy show like this year, like we lost their glasses, and like we're all like, nope, nobody step on anything this guy needs to see.
I had that a couple of years ago at Grass Pop where I forgot, like usually I'll take my sunglasses off and hand them to somebody or put them in my pocket, but how when sometimes you're wearing them you forget they're on. So I jumped into the Machine Head pit. Next thing I know, no clue where my glasses were. And some chick came up, and she was the one being brutal, backing everybody off. And she went through the whole mess of the pit that was being brutal, looking for my glasses for me. And I'm like, see, that's the coolest shit ever.
Yeah.
You
don't get that anywhere else.
No. And then speaking of Bring Me the Horizon, it was a couple years ago, they were headlining Download. And I was in their pit, and there was this dude. It's always these dudes. This dude was like huge. He was like Andre the Giant, and he goes in like he's Mr. Tough Hard Ass. Like, I don't understand why these big dudes think they're tough hard asses taking on little dudes in the pit. Like, I am a little dude. And I will fuck you up, man, if you're that big dude that's being an asshole, because I'm quicker than you. So I'm going to come around the pit. I'm going to get low, and I'm going to lunge up like Mike Tyson, elbow you, and I'll be on the other side of the pit before you know who it was, okay?
Yeah.
But this dude was trying to take everybody out, like not in a fun way. And it was great because everybody was like pushing on him and stuff. And then this dude that was bigger than him, which I couldn't even imagine because this guy was huge, walked up to him and like, hey, Why don't you try somebody your own size? And he removed him from the pit. And that dude, he was scared because the whole time he was on the outskirts of the pit and he was not entering at all. Like he was literally removed from the pit. Yeah. That's the way life should be.
Fucking
yeah,
man.
Good. Yeah, and I've been absolutely rocked by like dudes half my size in the pit. Like the bigger you are, the harder you fall.
Hell yeah! I remember being a teenager and one of my best friends. He was a big dude. He never had been in a mosh pit before, so he decided to do what a lot of big dudes do. He got into the pit facing the oncoming traffic and like used his, I'm big and tough, like he's gonna push people out of the way. Not only did he get slaughtered, but I slaughtered him myself just to teach him a lesson. Like, dude, no, that don't go on here. You're my bro. I love you. That ain't how it happens here.
Oh yeah, let him know.
Who I'm afraid of in the pit is the chicks. They're the ones that are the most badass, man, and they're scared of nothing. It's like wild. Right? Totally. Like, I don't know what we were thinking in the 80s because, we were the gatekeepers and chicks shouldn't be in the pit. But you know what? They deserve the pit more than we do. I that's what I say.
Totally. Yeah, they earned it.
Yeah, so, you're in there in the first place. Yeah.
Exactly. So tell us a little bit about, I like what you're doing with the new music. You're dropping like 4 singles separately, but there are 4 different vibes of the band, which I love that nowadays too, because like sometimes some of the subgenres, I think they're using like an algebraic equation to create metal music. Like I can't believe that when I was a kid, everybody used to say to me, "Oh, that music just all sounds the same." And I'd be like, you don't know what you're talking about because it didn't. Now it does a lot of times. So it's like, usually I can tell any band. And sometimes now it's like, which band is that? Like, because it's the same riffs, it's the same style. So I love the idea that you're making 4 different songs that are different vibes of the band. I love that.
Sweet, man. Yeah, appreciate that. They were all kind of written separately. So like some of those songs were written years ago, and then some of those songs were written like the week of. Like I joined that band thinking that there were already songs written for these studio sessions they had booked, then realizing like the day before, oh no, there were no songs. They just booked studio time and then hired me. They're like, "Hey, you got songs, right?" I'm like, shit, no, I don't have any songs." So like,
let me write some real quick.
Yeah, I'll write them real quick. There was the last one we're going to release was written half in the studio on the day. So it was like kind of spur of the moment.
I love that. Some of those are the best songs, though. The ones that bands write like day of while they're in the studio, they're writing it.
Yeah, and you got to write them quick because studio time ain't cheap. So
it's not.
And sometimes we work best under pressure. Like I might have like a year to do a thing, but I'm like, yeah, I'll think about doing it and have some like sketches in my head, maybe if I think that far ahead. But then, comes crunch time, like, oh, shit, I actually need to do this now and make it good.
Yeah.
Well, that's like me too. Like if I do voiceovers, 90% of the time, first take, one and done. If I don't get it done the first time, it takes me like 20. Because then you're overthinking it.
Yeah.
Like first time you just get on, do it. And like, okay, that's perfect. After that, you're just like being super analytical against yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If I like retrack the same part like a dozen times or so, it's usually like the second or third one that's like the best of the bunch. And if it takes any more than that, then all right, try again later.
Exactly. Wrong vibe at the time. So going back to Spice Girls. Okay.
Yes.
So
happy to talk about Spice Girls all day long.
I interviewed Skinner 3 times.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty rad.
They're always so fun. But the best time was, so I normally ask bands, especially bands like that have such a long history and have probably so many stories. I'll be like, and I had to kind of change it because I was like, usually I would say like, so if you were 80, but they were so old that I think I pushed it up to like 90 or something. And I'm like, one story, good or bad, in your whole musical journey, what would it be? And Rosington answered immediately. And he's like, oh, when we had sex with the Spice Girls backstage. And then he goes, wait, edit that out. Don't let that air.
We're under an NDA.
Oh, my God. I'm like, that's so funny.
Okay, well, follow-up question. Is that one of the best or one of the worst? Now
I know, right? You know, they are some good old boys, man. Their interviews, they're laughing the whole interview. Like,
Nice.
and that's what I love about iconic bands. They have no idea that they're iconic. Rock stars that are really rock stars have no idea they're a rock star, and they never tried to be a rock star. They're just musicians, you know? And that, I think, is the difference. If you go to try to be a rock star, first of all, there is no such thing anymore. Second of all, you probably suck.
God,
You know?
I've had this exact same sentiment when I've gone to like festivals and like bigger shows and stuff. Even the bands that will play it, they'll do their set and then they'll get off stage and you'll see them in the crowd like the whole time. Michael Stahn from Dark Tranquillity is like a perfect example of this. He's in like a dozen different bands and they're all really active, and every time he's not on stage, I see him in the crowd, like if not front and center, then like towards the periphery of the pit or something, and just like locked eyes on stage, just having a ball.
That's the way it should be. You should be a fan first, you know. I've had those experiences a lot of times at festivals. I kind of laugh because, like, example, one time I was sitting watching a set with Chris Motionless, but he didn't have his makeup on. So I was just laughing to myself because everybody around us had no clue it was him, which I think is cool because, you know what? They're people first. They're fans first. If they're out in the crowd, leave them alone. Let them enjoy themselves. Say hi or whatever is fine. But, like, you know, don't act like fanboyish or fangirlish out. You know, that's their safe zone there. They're just having fun now.
Don't bring up your whole catalog to like sign like while you're dodging elbows.
I know, right? Exactly.
You're gonna get a bad signature if you're in the pit. There's not going to be stable enough surface to write.
I know, right? Exactly. So, what would you say for both of you guys is one of your most iconic moments, good or bad, in your musical journey? Doesn't even have to be in this band, just in general.
Iconic moments. I guess there's two that come to mind. One was when I was in junior year of high school. My band director, I played percussion in like the orchestra, and he got wind of the fact that I was into metal guitar, and he's like, there's a piece I've always wanted to do, and it was a concerto for wind ensemble and electric guitar that the dude who composed it does a lot of music for Mortal Kombat. So that gives you like some idea of like what it's supposed to sound like. And so it was like, you know, me shredding it up with like a whole, like, you know, their high school orchestra, but still an orchestra. And it was like, this is it. Like, this is the coolest thing I've ever done in my life.
Nice.
Which, you know, there have been cooler things since, but that was a good one. And then on the other end of the spectrum was not even a gig or anything that I did, but a band I used to be in, we got a message on Facebook from this guy who like had, I don't even remember what it was that he had, but had some like really like awful disease and like could barely walk and stuff. And wrote us this thing, and like, you know, we're like a local band in LA. This guy from Poland somehow got wind of us, and he's like, "Hey, I love your music. You know, it helps me get out of bed in the morning, and like, it really means a lot to me that you would like make me so relate to it." I was like, "Dude, this is the reason anyone does this, right? Is like
that's what it's all about, right there, man.
People for sure." So that was like 15 years ago, but that stays with me for sure. It's like anytime I'm feeling down, it's like, no, man, I gotta do it. Gotta keep doing it. It means something to someone somewhere.
Exactly.
Know? Mine's in like almost exactly this same vein. It was I think it was in a thrash band I was playing with a long while ago, or I thought I'd get about it again as I kind of repeated this cycle with my other band Anubis. When the first time I was in the act and we had played our show, and somebody comes up to our merch booth, buys an album, and then asks us all to sign it. We started with like playing some songs or having an idea that became a song, and then those songs became this performance, and we performed and meant something to this person, this face in the crowd that liked it so much and resonated with it so much that they wanted to take a piece of us home with them. And that just being included in that, and that was the first time I like was asked to do that. That made me feel like a rock star, even if it was like just a smaller venue, local show, that kind of thing. Like just
nice.
That, like we were saying, that connection, that's what this all means.
I love it. I love it. See, and the fact that you guys like the expression on your face when you're telling these stories tells me how much you love what you do. Yeah, and there's a lot of musicians that don't, and I don't get it. Like, you're in the wrong business if the part that's the most fun of the business you don't look like you're having fun doing.
Right.
You know, when you see people on stage and they look like they're miserable up there, I'm like, that's the most fun part of being a musician. Like, the rest of it kind of sucks. You might want to get out of the business.
I've had photographers tell me that it's like real tough to capture like a good like mean looking like metal shot of me on stage because I can't stop like grinning from ear to ear as I'm playing the shit, because it's like it's fun. That's why we're here. That's why I do this. That's why you put up with all the nonsense bits of it, and like that makes it all worth it.
You put up with like 23 hours a day worth of shit to play an hour set. Okay.
Totally. Love every second of it.
There you go. All right. So tell everybody how they can get your new song, check out all everything about you, and become a fan.
Totally. Well, it's on all the streaming platforms, your Spotify's, your Apple Music's, all that stuff. The music video is out on YouTube. You can find us on Instagram at Levinia Official. That's Levinia Official. Same thing, website, LeviniaOfficial.com. All of our stuff is there. Our links are there. You can follow us on all those.
You can go there and buy some merch. We got a few t-shirts.
Yeah.
They have to buy your merch or they can't listen to my show anymore.
That's the rule. Spotify is
free. It is really the rule that I have on my show, because people don't realize that's the only way you're getting to the next gig, man. You know, like people, this is your job. This is how you eat. Like, support your bands that you love so that they can continue doing and giving you the love. That's
and if you like being there, you liked what we do, take a piece of us home with you. That's how you do it.
Exactly. Well, I think my final question will be, since I made a big deal about it in the beginning, do you have a story of the person that pronounced your band name the worst in an interview?
Pronounced the band name the worst. I don't know about interviews. Like we've definitely been announced as weird names. I think like Levinia.
Somebody said like Levinia before or something.
Yeah, Levinia or something like that. I think might have been one at some point. But I don't remember being called that in an interview face to face. It's usually last second, like, and welcome to the stage. Line of na. Oh, I guess that's. I think he did that.
You know what?
That's why you put the banners up.
You know, it'd be a funny prank to do. Like, go on tour, but go on tour with yourself and call the opening band Levinia.
Perfect.
And it's actually you.
Yes. We just all switch instruments.
Like another Jared Threaten situation.
You can even like put masks on or something and see how many people are stupid enough to think it is a different band.
Yeah, we'll just be a Levinia cover band opening for Levinia.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, perfect.
I love it. That's great. Well, you guys
get paid twice.
Yes, that's the other thing. Yeah.
Yeah. See, benefit for everybody. Well, you guys rock. I love it, and keep doing what you're doing. Can't wait for the rest of your new music to come out. And thanks for being on the Adventures of Pipe Man.
Right on, man. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Right on.
Thank you for listening to the Adventures of Pipe Man on W4CY Radio.